Hi, I'm Andrew, the Young Adult and Media Librarian at North Brunswick Public Library. Have you seen the preview for the upcoming movie Shang-Chi and the Master of Ten Rings? It's a new one from Marvel Studios. Now, the past few years, Marvel's been making a lot of movies and TV shows, starting out with some of the more well-known characters, Captain America and the Hulk, etc. So, now they sort of have to use some of the lesser known characters, right? You may not have ever heard of Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, um, or you may have heard of him, but don't really know much about him, and including how to pronounce his name. But in the movie, that's how they're pronouncing it. So that seems like the official way to pronounce it now. So, of course, that means that Marvel Comics, of course, is going to create more materials with some of these lesser known characters. All right, and that's the case here. This is a new book. This is a new paperback, Shang-Chi, Brothers and Sisters, and it's a book you don't have to know anything about Shang-Chi to read it and dive right in. But I'll tell you anyway, just because I'll give you some frame of reference. All right, so in the 1970s, martial arts movies and TV shows were popular, and Marvel of course, wanted to jump onto that. They wanted to do a comic based on the TV show Kung Fu, and they couldn't get the rights to that, but they could get the rights to another character named Fu Manchu. And Fu Manchu was an infamous Chinese villain. He started out in the books by Sax Rohmer, and soon he was in the movies, often played by a white actor. And a lot of people felt that this was a racist caricature, but it was certainly a popular character. So initially, Marvel's comics would have, would be from the 70s perspectives of this old character. You'd have Fu Manchu, the villain, but we'd also see his son, Shang-Chi, who was a hero who would oppose his father. And Shang-Chi, he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of powers or technology. He just, had his knowledge of the martial arts and his abilities. And he's perhaps the best, the most skilled fighter in the Marvel universe. But years later, Marvel lost the rights to Fu Manchu, so they couldn't have him. They couldn't have him mentioned by name or anything like that. And I think eventually they just decided, let's give Shang-Chi a different father, who was a villain. And that came to be seen in the Avengers, because Shang-Chi eventually joined the Avengers. Most major Marvel characters, including some of the X-Men, but not all of them, have been Avengers at some point or another. So anyways, that brings us now to this new book. We'll find out a little bit more about his family, right? Shang-Chi brothers and sisters. You can put a hold on it for contactless pickup and pick it up either through contactless pickup, or you can come on one of the days we're open to the public for browsing and pick it up that way. Or if you prefer, you can just read the ebook using your North Brunswick Library card and use Hoopla. Right, remember, you can get Hoopla from our website. And here you have, there's what do you like better, books or ebooks? There are advantages to both. But if you want to take a look here, right, here's the credit page. Right, we have the writer Gene Luen Yang. Now, Gene Luen Yang is one of my favorite comics writers and artists. We have a lot in our library, right? Right now I'm looking at our catalog. We have Saints, Secret Coders, Superman Smashes the Klan, Dragon Hoops, From Small Steps to Great Leaps, right? And as well as franchise characters. We have Avatar, as well as his own creations. And if you know his work, a lot of times he'll tell a really exciting story, but put the history and legend in it as well. And that's the case here. There are two main artists listed here, Dike Ruan, who draws the main storyline, and Philip Tan, who is the flashback artist, right? So so Dike Ruan does the main part of the story. Both of them have drawn for Marvel before. Philip Ruan for Spider-Man, Philip Tan for many characters, and right. So it starts out in the past, centuries in the past, early in the Qing Dynasty. All right. And a little bit about how martial arts were illegal in the early part of that dynasty. In 1700s or the 4300s, according to the old calendar, it caught attention of the imperial government. Right, because punishment is death for that. So we're right in the middle of the action with some people getting executed for martial arts, but who should come in but the sorcerer brothers, Master Zheng Zhu and Master Zheng Yi, right? So they appear to be sort of heroic characters, at least in the beginning. And here we pop in a really old character from Marvel, Fing Fang Foom, a dragon from space. It's a Marvel comic, so of course you can sort of go with it, that there are some wild characters. I love the shape of the panels on this page, right? Get you right up into the action. So anyhow, the elder character, Zheng Zhu, we find out is actually the father of our hero, Shang-Chi, as well as some other characters who we may not know have already met before, right? In fact, two of them fight over who will rule the House of the Deadly Staff, right? Who is basically, who Shang-Chi really views as a cult of following Zheng Zhu, right? And here they are fighting over who will be the leader of their house, all right? So you can see that, there's a lot of action, sort of like watching a, martial arts movie here. And then we're sent to San Francisco, specifically Chinatown. Shang-Chi, right now he's not an adventurer. He's not an Avenger right now. He's sort of turned his back on that, at least for a while. He's just working in a little shop here, showing off some of his skills, but just for fun, really. But he doesn't really want anything to do with his family and their cult. But of course, you know how these things are, and before long, he's going to get into some really big, exciting adventures. All right. Here he meets up with an old character here. And so anyways, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of big action, martial arts action, as well as some nice moments, quiet moments of character as well. So anyhow, as I mentioned, you can place a hold on it through our contactless pickup, or you can pick it up at the library, or you can look at it on Hoopla. Have you read this book? I forgot. I shouldn't forget. One more thing I should tell you is that that if you want to read more with this character, we have another book with him, Battle World's Master of Kung Fu, which is set in an alternate world, and then in Hoopla, Shang-Chi plays a role in each of these storylines. The Amazing Spider-Man Spider Island, in which he trains Spider-Man to fight, and the Avengers World. So, right, as I mentioned, he does have adventures with the Avengers as well. So anyways, going back to what I was saying is, I'd love to hear your opinion on these and other characters, and hear your requests for books, either that we can purchase for the library or that I can discuss in these videos. I'm always happy to hear from you, and happy reading.